Okay, so here we have the Magic Bullet NutriBullet, and we're going to do a milling demonstration. And I have some pecans in here, not much, but I just want to show you how the milling blade works. So of course that's going to be able to crush this into almost like a fine powder. So you can also use this cup for, also doing your juicing and that type of stuff as well. So easily, just let's screw it on real quick. Make sure it's nice and tight, and just like the Magic Bullet itself, all you got to do is put it in. We're going to press down. So let's go ahead and see how it works. And as you can see, it's already making almost like a fine powder, and as you pulsate it more and more, that depends on how much, how fine it will be. So let's do that. So I think that's pretty good. We have a couple little chunks in there, nothing too bad, but this would be great to use as a, encrusting on maybe like salmon or something along that line. So that worked really well. You can also do coffee and those types of things. So let me just show you kind of what that looks like right there. And show you what that looks like right there. So it is a very fine powder, and it's not like a spice powder. At least this is not like a spice powder. It still has some grain to it, so I think this would be great for encrusting things. So that worked really well. Very easy to do. Obviously, the more pulses that you do is going to make it finer and finer. And if there's any problems where things start getting stuck, I mean, some of these items might have some type of oil in them that might get it stuck to the inside. All you gotta do is just, shake it, give it a little shake, and stuff will fall back down into the blade area. It's a known issue, not a big deal, but it's gonna happen with anything like that that might stick. So that worked really well. You see the milling blade right there. Very easy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some nutrient extraction like they show mostly on the infomercial. So I kind of put my own concoction together. Again, there's plenty that are here in the recipe book that you can always try, but this is what I'm going to do. Seems like kale is very high in vitamins, so I'm actually going to use the kale. Make sure that's washed, so we're going to put that right in there. Put it down towards the bottom. So we got the kale in there. Now I have a few pieces of pineapple, because of course the pineapple or fruits will offset the bitterness of the leafy greens. I'm just going to go ahead and put some of that in there. I'm also going to go ahead and put a few grape tomatoes in there. So, that one's down, not a big deal. So we got the grape tomatoes in there, and I'm going to put a few of the pecans in there just for that omega. And then once that's all set to the levels that you want, there is a max fill level with the water. So that looks pretty good. That's going to be my drink, so I want to give this a try right now. So let's go ahead. I'm going to fill this. So right to the max line there, okay? That's everything. I'll go ahead, take my extractor blade, and we're going to put the extractor blade on the unit here. Make sure it's nice and tight. It makes a good seal. And same thing like before, when you're blending this or extracting the nutrients, if items start to get stuck on the sides, this will happen. All you gotta do is take it off and shake the stuff down into it, which also describes this in the manual. So here we go. It sits right in place. All you gotta do is press down and see how it performs. Very, very quick. And I see some of the leafy greens in there still, so a little bit longer. You see a very quick tornado-like effect. And you can feel the power of the blades going once you let it go. Alright, so there you go. So you see a little bit of the leafy green in there. Not a big deal. It's expected to happen a little bit. A little bit more. Smells pretty good. Might need a little bit more fruit in it, but it smells pretty good. So let's go ahead and see that. Okay, so here's the mixture that I made. It's pretty smooth looking. Definitely not enough fruit in it. Again, that's probably because I didn't follow a recipe. Now, I'm tasting it, and I do taste a lot of the, it's not very smooth right yet. So I think maybe it needs to be blended a little bit more. So I'm going to do that again real quick. Just go ahead and put it back on. Alright. It's definitely, thinned out a little bit. Definitely thinned out. There's a little bit of a texture to it when you're drinking it. You know, a lot of smoothies are like that. I think if it was, if you were to thicken it up a little bit, it might be a little bit different. Definitely needs more fruit in this. The kale right now is overpowering it, and the pineapple is not as sweet as it could be. So something along the line of like maybe apples or oranges could really definitely help with that. So that came out pretty good. Was very, very easy to use. All I had to do is obviously put the stuff in there, fill it to the max line, and press it down. Now I also want to try this just real quick in the Magic Bullet, and I'm going to try this also in the Ninja. So let me give that a shot. So here's the original Magic Bullet that I have, and I loaded up one of their containers, the same concoction. So I have the kale, pineapple, some water, and also the tomatoes. See how that comes out. So same idea, put it in, and you'll see that it works more like a blender. All right. The same idea here. See that real quick. It came out good, but definitely was thinner in the NutriBullet. So if you're looking to get those really smooth or smoother types of drinks, I think the NutriBullet is a lot faster, and the blade is going to work a lot better for you. But also in the infomercial for the Ninja, which is a competitor of the NutriBullet, it says that it can do the same type of nutrition extraction. So I want to try that real quick. It's the Ninja, which is a competitor of the NutriBullet. And in the Ninja commercial, it says it also does nutrition extraction. So I put the same amount in here. And one big difference that I see between these is that the NutriBullet, it says don't add hot liquids to it. You can't work with hot liquids. Most likely you're not going to be adding hot liquids to a NutriBullet type mix, like for a drink. So it's kind of, really doesn't matter that much. NutriBullet is 600 watt motor. This is a 1000 watt motor. Could make a little bit difference. You have the multiple blades in the Ninja. We also have our speed settings and a pulse setting. So what I'll do is I'm just going to turn on the first setting, and we have the same type of food in there, the water, tomato, pineapple, and the kale. So let's see how this comes out. Definitely not as smooth as the NutriBullet. No way. So I know this can get very fine because when I make soups, but I think for this, because we're doing smaller quantities, it's not ideal for it. So let's go back to the NutriBullet and let's try one other recipe, and then we'll get a final overview of it, and then in another video we'll see our final overview review. Okay, back to the NutriBullet. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit more of a fruity type drink. Again, we're going to start with the kale, and then we're going to use, I'm going to put in a banana, and then also going to use an apple, obviously cut. You can leave the skin on, make sure it's washed. And don't try to overload the NutriBullet. So we're going to put a few things in here. Looks pretty good. And then also just going to put a couple pieces of the pineapple in there. Some of the pecans, and then I'm going to go ahead and just fill it with the water. Now you don't always have to fill it to the max line. You can fill it less than that depending on the desired thickness that you want for the drink. So I'm going to fill it probably about halfway, and then we can always add to it. So there we go. All set here. Go ahead, and you'll see how some of the stuff kind of sticks. So all you gotta do is just shake it down into place, and then it's gotta just be seated properly, and plugged in would be great. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. So here we go. And you see how everything would just suck down eventually. You might want to try some different leafy greens because the kale seems kind of thick. So there's that. That's all set. So let me just go ahead and show you here. It's pretty smooth. So this is what I just extracted. This was the apples and kale. Now again, the kale is a little bit more dense, so it does take a little bit more time to get it to the right consistency. Also, based on the amount of water is going to let you know how much, how thick it will be. So you can play with that. Then also in this manual and online, you'll find some other things as far as like dips, like hummus and other products like that you can also make with this. So it is an all-in-one tool, because not only can you make drinks, but then you can make other like foods that are also nutritious as well. Now don't get me wrong, it doesn't always have to be nutritious. You can make something that's not as nutritious, something that might be a little bit sweeter. So that's not going to stop you. It depends on what you put in there. So that was the demo of the NutriBullet. It was our first time setting it up here and really testing it out. It works a lot like the Magic Bullet, which is expected, same company, just on a bigger scale. And also the nutrition extractor blades obviously work different from what we saw previously. Not only against a competitor, but also with the original Magic Bullet, it didn't work the same way, and it didn't make it as smooth. Be sure to read the manual so you understand to make sure you understand what fruits and vegetables can be completely ground up and the pits be pulverized, because you want to make sure you're not getting any of that cyanide from those pits into your food. That would be bad. So overall, really enjoyed using the NutriBullet. And if you want just the final review and final thoughts of this, check out our other video for the NutriBullet review. I'm Alan from Damn Good Reviews. Thanks for watching.